Hi, good morning, and welcome to Philosophical Coffee. This is Anna Imagination. And if you are new to my channel, I am a philosopher, psychologist, sociologist of 30 years. I wish I had a word that I could just summarize all of what I do. It would be a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to delve into a formula that, if you take a look at the blackboard below, I already posted the formula. This is one of my dear friends and somebody who is currently going through Triadic Healing asked me a question just now. How do you do it all? And for perspective, I am currently writing 2 books, teaching my daughter via school, running a business, doing this podcast, doing my research, and managing my home while I am also expanding my education. And this is how I answer that every single time. I am an ADHD neurodivergent individual who realizes their potential. That's the difference. Realizing your potential. One of the biggest lies we are told is, this is me just throwing down game. The biggest lie we are told is the potential of the human being. It's bullshit. We are made to believe that we are incapable, incompetent, and don't have enough time. No, nope. That is spoken by a bunch of ignorant people who don't know. That is common in our society. That is what I refer to as a fourth perspective comprehension gap. A fourth, blah, 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 blah. I'm really tired, and it's been like 2 days. I have not slept well in 2 days. And it's just, I don't know why. I'm not sleeping well, and it's taking a toll on me. Okay. So I'm going to cover today energy, how to use energy effectively, and this fourth perspective comprehension gap, because this is really what it comes down to. Let me go ahead and get set up. If you want to follow along on the blackboard, that is available below. I do have an announcement. I am in the process of doing a workbook right now, a Philosophical Coffee workbook. I am so fucking excited about this. It's more than half done. I wrote 10,000 words yesterday. I should be finishing it today. This is why I was up at 3 a.m. I'm like, oh my God, I got to write. So it is a workbook, a day-to-day workbook, about 90 pages, 90 days, that covers everything. It's going to be a walkthrough of all of the exercises, all of everything you need to do, and it's in story format so that it plays with your identity when you read it. It is an epic fantasy crime noir. It's really awesome. It's like the best, worst shit I've ever written. But it's absolutely playful. It's fun. It's a story. And there are exercises that basically build on each other. And this is all done strategically so that when you tune into Philosophical Coffee, you can get this workbook and it will allow you to go through the daily, work with it alongside me. And when you combine the workbook with Philosophical Coffee, it's Triadic Healing. You're literally going to go through the full Triadic Healing with the workbook. And you'll be able to get the strategic, cleaned up classes here on Philosophical Coffee. Now, the flip side of all this is I'm going to have a Q&A where if you want me to cover something, if you have a follow-up question, I'm going to have an optional Q&A available on my website. That's going to be coming up shortly this week, where you guys can put in a request. You can ask your question, and I'm basically going to literally answer every question. Once it gets to the point where it's more than I can handle, then we're going to look for the average. And then I'm going to look for highlighted topics that everyone has a problem with. And then I will create probably a class around that particular topic. So there's a lot coming up. So the workbook is going to be available as a PDF download, printable, and also something you can purchase on Amazon in a paperback so that you can have your physical workbook. It's all of my exercises. and it's designed to be compatible with philosophical coffee and my meditation for beginners. So you can toggle that together. It walks you through all of it, including cognitive behavioral therapy for PTSD. It is fucking awesome. So that is something that's coming up. Now, that being said, I have my Blackboard. I'm still going to continue with my Blackboards. My Blackboards are basically my blog posts on my website. So that for every class, every daily class, I basically take notes and I try and stop touching the pens and I document what I need here so that while I talk to you, you can actually see on my website the entire like formulas, all of the work, it's right there. So the formula, as far as in this, if I'm going to give this formula a name, it's how to strategically direct and use your energy effectively. Now, the biggest lie we were told, we have several lies in our society. And one of these days, I'm just going to go through and sort out all the lies that we were told because this is really it, is we are far more than we have become. It is grossly underestimated what we are capable of doing. I am in my book right now, this workbook, and I'm adding this one to it because this is something where, yeah, it's we have got to wrap our heads around this. Sanity is logic. Mind the spells. Okay. So then the next one I want to put in here is very, very much the next one is we are more. Our potential. I want to say our potential. Now I'm just going to come out and say it. We have been lied to. We have been lied to about our true potential. And this is probably the hardest thing for us to really wrap our heads around. A human person is capable of far more than anything we couldn't possibly imagine today. The greatest example of this is education. And the reason why is because whenever anyone hears about what I've studied and the volume of what I've studied, their immediate response is, how did you do it? And this is what I refer to as the fourth perspective comprehension gap. The fourth perspective comprehension gap is 100% a deduction, a false conclusion made by a fourth perspective with significantly incomplete and insufficient information. Because they lack a basic core comprehension that's vital to making a deductive conclusion, they're making wrong conclusions. We are at the mercy of the fourth perspective comprehension gap. Bottom line, we are at the mercy of this thing. And it's getting to the point where it's more, I cannot explain to you how many times I have run into this thing over the last few weeks alone. And the more I'm starting to realize things, the more it's really starting to come into the big picture. I started with mental illness for my own purposes. And then I went, okay, what the fuck is going on with mental illness that it's this bad? So I looked at psychologists and went, psychologists, what the fuck are you doing? And anyone who's been watching any of my material knows that I am really having a massive hate right now going on with psychologists. And that hate is actually starting to fade. Oh, they're ignorant. Oh, well, why are they ignorant? Teachers, what the fuck is going on? So now I'm looking at teachers and I'm asking the teachers, what the fuck are you doing that you are this incompetent with teaching psychologists? Well, that took me to their teachers, professional educators. So now I'm looking at professional educators. And I'm going, professional educators, what the fuck are you doing that you are not teaching teachers to be competent so that they can't teach psychologists to be competent so that everyone's got mental illness. What the fuck? And that took me back to authority, power, and control. And I went, oh, we decided to make education the responsibility of a bunch of politicians. That's where all this got fucked up. Well, now it all makes sense. Now it makes sense. So the problem is politicians. Politicians is why we all have mental illness. So, because when you turn over the mindset and the entire mental health of an entire nation over to a bunch of unethical, business-minded, greedy sons of bitches, you end up with this mess. So now it all makes sense. So now it's going, all right, who put these dipshits in charge? Well, I know that answer. The answer is Rome. And the answer is Rome. I know that historical 2,000-year line. I know how those assholes got in charge. Yeah, I can see it. I was actually talking to my daughter about this last night. We were going over. In my previous video, the video I did at 3 a.m. this morning, I was explaining how my daughter was really struggling understanding history. So I went all the way back to the beginning, and in 1 hour, I condensed 6 pages. I condensed all of history for 2,000 years. And she was like, wait, so all of this is the United States government, the American Revolution. She's like, all of this is them needing to create a new government because they're firing the old one. That's right. That's right. And she goes, so they're creating a new government. They have to create a new government. Yeah. And she's like, and I said, we had a blank slate. We had a clean slate. We had to choose from all the different types. We've gone through monarchs. We've done feudalism. We've done, all of the things. And she went, the Senate. She made the connection to the Roman Senate. And I went, that's right. I showed her a picture of the Roman Senate last night. And she went, that looks like Congress. I said, that is exactly Congress. Roman Senate is Congress. And she goes, so our entire system is based off of the Roman mindset, the Roman ideal. I said, correct. So they pulled from John Locke, was a philosopher of the day, and they pulled from Thomas Hobbes. Everyone knows Hobbes. He is the namesake for the cartoon characters Calvin and Hobbes. So I love Calvin and Hobbes so much. So Thomas Hobbes, that Hobbes, and he is basically the philosopher, the founding philosopher of the U.S. His work is what was used for our primary core structure. And she's looking at it going, well, it's not working. No, it's not working. And she asked me, do you know where it went wrong? I said, exactly. The president is where it went wrong. And the fact that there is an executive of state, that's the first problem, is there is an executive state. The other problem is it's not a nonprofit, it's the business side. And the other problem is basically the lack of the nourishing mother. That is what's going on. And how I explained it to her was this, is basically, it's authority, power, control. As soon as you put it in a position where you can make profit off of education, as soon as you can make profit off of medicine, profit off of medical, mental health, profit off of, what else is there? Education, medicine, medical, mental health. As soon as you do that, game over. Because then the people start to assess how they can use these things, not for the ethical preservation of the people, but instead they start to farm them for resources. So that is one of the things we are up against. Now, I know exactly, like I went through this system, I tweaked it, and I'm like, okay, so it's authority, power, control. That is why we have shitty professional educators who are producing shitty fucking incompetent teachers, who are producing shitty fucking incompetent psychologists, which is why we all are mentally ill. And I have been screaming it for years, why the fuck philosophy and psychology are not taught in schools. It's our fucking mental health. We all need like a manual on this is your subconscious mind and how to use it, which I am writing right now. So that all being said, how to strategically direct and use your energy effectively. The first thing you have to be aware of is that the human brain is far more capable than anything that we see today. When a person is allowed to learn the way nature intended, you realize that you can take this much information and put it into a brain in almost no time flat. And that is really the problem. We do not know what our brains are capable of. And that is really an ongoing point that a lot of people have missed, is we think that we're only capable of this much. So everyone is put into this category of everyone is capable this much. And when you take off the cap, the restrictions, they're actually capable of this much. This is how much they're capable of. But we're all being forced to go here. And with the amount of trauma and poor education and all the shit around this, we think, oh, well, this is our potential. No, it's not. Our potential is this. Now, ADHD people and neurodivergents are the best example for this because they've got the energy already. Basically, the difference between a neurodivergent, ADHD, and everybody else is the ADHD neurodivergent are hooked up to the energy. They're bringing in the energy and they've got an imagination that rolls. So they're accumulating the potential energy. Oh, they've got a storage of potential energy. And then there's people who don't. So this is really it, is you are one of two persons, technically three. You are one of three persons. You are either option A, B, or C. A is we're going to call it the neuronormal. I don't like the word normal. The neuro average brain. Okay. Or, well, we'll just call it, the neuro average. The neuro average brain has no curiosity, no imagination, no energy, no drive, no potential energy, and no dreams. Those require imagination to have. The ADHD person or the neurodivergent person has suppressed curiosity, imagination, energy, drive, potential energy, and dreams. A minute, I am. The other option, C, and that's what I am, is the realized I'm going to say realized. I don't know what to call it. I'm going to say just insert name. I don't know what to call it at this point. Realized curiosity, imagination, energy, drive, potential energy, and dreams. And it is converted basically over to kinetic energy. There it is. So it's realized curiosity, imagination, energy, drive, kinetic energy, and dreams. And in order to get this, there is a formula. And the formula is you take your joy and what you love, and that energizes you. That's where you start. That's your comfort zone. And then you use excitement and curiosity and adventure, and that moves that energy forward. Now you have momentum. You need to be able to drive without it, it's like you're doing this with this, you're going all over the place. So you need to know where you are going. You need to have your dream to define exactly what you want. Now you direct all of that. It's the direction. You are directing the energy from joy and love strategically into action, kinetic energy, via the curiosity and excitement for adventure into the direction of the dream. In order to do this, though, you have to stop limiting yourself. It's not going to work if you limit yourself. You have to stop limiting yourself. And the biggest limit is thinking that we are this big when we're this big. And this is it. When you start to realize that, and this is it, is my energy comes from my joy and what I love. And when you start tapping into your joy and your love, you're going. You don't need to stop and refuel. It's not that you have an energy reserve that goes in and then you go and then you burn out. That is the biggest misconception in our heads, is you got to put energy in, and we think, oh, energy is food. No, it's not. We think it's energy is food and it's sleep. No, it's not. That's maintenance for the body. That's not energy. That's not at all energy. That's just how to keep your body maintaining, which is not explaining how you can have two different people, one with ADHD, one without, one with realized potential, and one who doesn't. It's because you have used your joy and your love to literally energize. When you do what you love and you enjoy doing what you love, you don't run out of steam. You don't. You tap into the surplus supply of energy, and oh my God, you are pulling from it constantly. You are siphoning from it. I am in a permanent state of siphoning energy from the energy pool. So I never run out of energy. Never run out of energy. So that's siphoning in through me. That's the first thing. And then I have my dream, I have my ideal, this is my goal. This is where I am going. Oh, believe me, it is clearly defined and I am heading for it. So I've got my very, very clear defined goal, and that's where I'm going. And while I'm going there, I am now taking all of that energy and I'm using my passion, my excitement, my adventure, my enthusiasm. Enthusiasm's another one, to steer me directly toward that dream. The dream is literally the steerage. The energy is the engine. Engine, energy. Like it's absolutely propelling it forward. And then your excitement, your curiosity and your enthusiasm is what's propelling that forward. So when you start to use the physics for your advantage, you're set. You are truly, truly set. And this is something I watched with my enthusiasm. This is something I watched with my daughter yesterday, where she got curious and then she got excited. And then she was like, all right, now I want to learn history. And it's because I tapped into her curiosity. But here's the thing, and this is an obstacle, is when you're frustrated, when you run into an obstacle, here's it. So you have, that's if everything's running smooth. So you hit an obstacle. The obstacle is when things get hard and you have to problem solve. Now, this is where a lot of people run into a problem. They are immediately stalled out through frustration, confusion, more frustration, and then discouragement. And that kills everything. And that comes back to a core belief: I don't think I can. It's self doubt. Self doubt. And self doubt is the emotion you hit when you fizzle out due to the frustration, the confusion, more frustration, discouragement, self doubt. And that's where depression usually sinks in. That's where you just put everything down and you're like, oh, and then you fizzle out. But if you understand that it's hard because you lack data, everything is always hard because you lack information. So, hold on, it is hard because you lack sufficient information. Anytime you can't problem solve, it is because you lack information. So, what should happen is education. That is what should happen. Every time you hit an obstacle, the solution is education. It should be synonymous. Obstacle equals education. Now, I have this in my head. I absolutely have this in my head. This has been in my head for decades. So that, oh, I have an obstacle, educate. And it's synonymous. I can't separate the two. So for me, it's problem solve or learn more so I can problem solve. And that's it. It's obstacle hits. Okay, you problem solve. Oh, you can't problem solve? Okay, you educate and then you problem solve. And those are your choices. That's it. So it's obstacle, educate or problem solve. Problem solve. Can't problem solve, then you educate and then you problem solve. And that is it right there. That is the maneuver. The goal is to get you where you want to go. And the want and the dream. The want is what you do. The dream is the direction you are going into. And that's it. You have your obstacle, which is problem solving. The want is the what you do. The dream is the direction that you are going to. So you hit an obstacle, problem solve it. You can't problem solve it, educate. Trust yourself. And that's the guiding thing through all of this. The minute you don't trust yourself, it's an immediate shutdown. The whole system just goes into hibernation. And a lot of people are stuck in hibernation because of this. Because bottom line, there's no trust. They don't trust themselves. They don't have faith in themselves. A lot of it comes back to, I don't trust that I can learn. Or this I see a lot of, and I talked about this yesterday, is it's a belief that they have to have a degree. Are you all right, Dan? There is the belief that they have to have a degree. And this is back to the only reason why we think we have to have degrees is because the government wants to sell you shit. It's a marketing ploy. A degree is marketing, and we're not calling it that. The only people, and this is the fourth perspectives, the fourth perspectives are so ignorant on this that they're not aware because they're just following the rules. And the rules say, oh, well, you got to do it this way. Who says? And there's a whole lot of millennials going, yeah, fuck that shit. And they're going off on their own and they're not getting the degrees. So universities are seeing a massive decline. Now they're not going to get funding. This is true of government funding. Is government funding, the more people who go for it, the more they get government funding, the more they have to hit criteria so they can keep getting funding. They're not going to get funding if they don't have the people coming in. So now the universities, the word is, I believe it's invested interest. They have a conflict of interest. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a conflict of interest in education. There is a conflict of interest in medicine, in prescriptions, in psychology, in education. They have a conflict of interest. And because of this unknown conflict of interest, there's wrong information out there. And the biggest wrong information is you need a degree. No, you don't. No, you don't. I wrote an article yesterday. I will not get into it because it's a lengthy article. I have a podcast that goes with it. And it's literally like, I'm going to go ahead and grab this particular link. I talk about self-taught versus formal education and the misplaced value and trust in formal education. That is literally the article. I am going to go ahead and drop it in the, what is it called? I am dropping it in the Blackboard. So you can go through and read the article. That was yesterday's article, actually. I usually write an article a day, and my daily articles tie into my themed conversation. Let me see here. Let me just go through it quick. That was yesterday's philosophical coffee. So it's a vast topic of discussion. It's huge. And I wrote another article this morning on teaching and psychology and the problem with teaching. What I'm doing is really, I am digging deep into this to try and figure out who started this, where's the problem, so I know where to fix it. And it comes back again. Yeah, there it is. Okay. It comes back again so here's the other article. So I've got two articles here on teaching and psychology and self-taught versus formal education and misplaced value and trust in formal education. So this is how to strategically direct and use your energy effectively. So it's a lot, but it's all tied into it. It keeps coming down to it. And this is a common obstacle. So I am currently what I'm going to do with, I just had this idea and I absolutely loved it. I was thinking about it. I have on an imagination, which is where all my science goes. All of my science, all of my math gets fueled directly into on an imagination. That way, if people want the science, they have access to it. But if they want to just heal without the science, they don't have to weed through all my formulas in physics. But if they want the backup, the logical proofs are here. All of it's there. Now, yeah, basically it's where I put the theory. That's what it is. I put the science in the theory. Now, I have Anna's Healing Garden. And the Healing Garden is basically where I put all of the translations for it into fourth perspective. So the way I see it is for 6 perspectives, for intellects, I've got Anna Imagination. For fourth perspectives and second perspectives, I have the Healing Garden. And that's where I have an area there for relationships. I'm going to have an area there for education. And I'm going to have an area there for parenting. And I'm going to have an area for self-healing. So you can go through and do relationship, education, parenting, self-healing, and then your career, your job. So whatever primary aspect you are having an issue with, a relationship, education, parenting, self-healing, career, it's taken care of. And it's all going to be filtered in that specific thing so that you can take care of each and every one of it. And then, that's translated into fourth and second perspective. And then on imagination, I don't translate that. That is 12 plus perspective, which is fantastic for neurodivergence. That's fantastic for people who are, they're ready for this stuff and they want the vocabulary yesterday. And that's it. And then the other website I have is the university. The university is where I put my curriculum. If you want to learn how to learn properly, that's where all my education and my curriculum is going to go. And it's where I put the nurturing mother. I also have my own, that's where my nonprofit is the education, the nurturing, the nourishing mother, the nonprofit. There's going to be a lot there. So that's the university. And ironically, and I was putting this together, and then yesterday I was reading about the museum in Alexandria, and there's the library, which was in the museum. The museum was actually a word for a temple and the university. So the concept of the school, the museum, and the temple was all the one and the same thing. It was inseparable in Alexandria. And that's pretty much what my university is also. I'm basically reviving Alexandria. That is my goal and my actual primary mission in life, is to put Alexandria back. Again, and I've talked about this so much. I'm going to continue talking about it. In 300 AD, we had Alexandria was destroyed. And when that happened, 100 years later, we plunged into the Dark Ages. We are still recovering from this. This was literally 1,600 years ago, and we are still feeling it. This is history that really, really is affecting our society. And in my opinion, the world's not going to get better until Alexandria comes back. And my whole life, I'm a Romanologist. My whole life is dedicated to what Alexandria was, how it functioned, what worked, what didn't work. And it needs to come back. We must have this educational epicenter. And it's literally like I'm plugging it in. So I will have my syllabus there. If you want to know how to self-teach, if you want to know, there's going to be classes on learning how to learn is the primary syllabus. It's learning how to learn, learning how to problem solve. And it's this exact same material that I had. It's literally, you can follow the exact same learning path to unlock your genius brain. And I have geniuses who call me a genius, and I say I'm not a genius. I just am living at my full potential. I am what every human being can be. I am what every human being should be. The only difference is I did not conform. I don't get in the box. I did not conform to the structure of the system. Most people did. And as a result, I went on my own tangent. And I never thought I shouldn't. The concept of you have to only study one subject was mind-blowing to me. I'm still going, why? I don't understand it. That to me is the most, when people look at me and go, how did you learn all you learned? I look at you and go, how did you not? It's like we're two aliens poking at each other going, you're so different. And you're poking at me going, well, you're different. How? And I'm going, I don't know. How did you not do it? And it's the only difference is somebody told you that you couldn't. That's it. We are designed to upload information fucking fast. You want to know what's faster than the speed of light? The speed of learning. That's fucking fast. That is fucking fast. And that's what people don't realize. When you finally learn to function at your appropriate frequency, and this is what it comes down to, when you learn how to function at your appropriate frequency, suddenly, oh, you do a lot in like an hour. And you're going, oh, holy shit, I'm speeding up. Yeah, you're speeding up. You don't have a short attention span. You belong in a different frequency of learning. There is no such thing. And this is fourth perspective gap, comprehension gap again. This is another one of those horrific delusions that we're taught, is that we're not only are we lied to about our true potential, but learning disability. That is bullshit. There is no such thing as a learning disability. The brain does nothing but learn. The other thing is short attention span. There is no such thing. That is not, no, that's fourth perspective idiocy. They have no idea what they're fucking talking about. And I'm at a point where when somebody says that, I'm like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Fourth perspective comprehension gap. They're so ignorant that they have no idea what they're talking about. A short attention span, it doesn't exist. It is somebody who functions at a higher frequency. And as a result, things go faster over here. And they're being forced to slow down for the fourth perspectives. They don't belong over there. They belong over here. Over here, oh, it's not a short attention span. We function at a higher frequency. And that's what they don't understand is I don't have a short attention span. I function at a higher frequency. I don't have a learning disability. What's really going on with a learning disability is I upload information only logically, in order, and faster than the speed of light. That's it. But it has to be logical and in order. And yeah, and that's the problem. It's not logical and it's not in order. As soon as it's logical and order, boom, it's up. It's faster than the speed of light. It is fucking fast. Now, when you take in those two variables, when you take into the concept that you have to upload information only logically, in order, and faster than the speed of light, and with as few words as possible. To be blunt, fourth perspectives are not qualified to teach ADHD people. Fourth perspectives are not qualified to teach because we are at a point where we are officially learning faster than the fourth perspectives can even keep up. And that is the problem. So you've got a bunch of fourth perspectives trying to slow down the students, and it's extraordinary. I took my daughter, we have it this week. Fun fact, my daughter and I have a Google Doc that every time she gets to a homework assignment that she doesn't understand, she copies it, drops it into the Google Doc. I then go in and I clean up their grammar. I condense it down E.B. White style to 5 words or less, and I send it back to her. And she goes, oh, no, that makes sense. Yeah, really fucking bad grammar and really wordy. And that's it. They are so uneducated now that teachers do not use proper grammar and they're wordy. Teachers are too wordy and they are too sloppy with their grammar. So as a result, I'm looking at I'm an award-nominated author. I know my shit when it comes to grammar. And when I'm looking at teachers, professional educators, and I'm going, wow, that is some of the worst grammar I've ever seen. So I'm going through correcting the teacher's grammar just so they can communicate to my daughter. Welcome to the world. That's the truth of it. You don't have a learning disability. The teachers are fucking ignorant. And true to narcissism, they blame you, the student, instead of taking on their own responsibility. And I have yet to meet a teacher who will be open-minded about this because narcissists aren't. So, and that's it, is you've got a bunch of narcissists running the country going, I'm right and I'm in charge. And then they get more narcissists to teach us. I'm right, I'm in charge, you're the one with the problem, you have a learning disability. And that's the problem. Well, you have a short attention span. No, you don't. You function at a higher frequency and they are not competent enough to teach higher frequencies. And that's bottom line. So really, we're at a point where education is going to have to become DIY, which is not a problem because homeschooling is so simple these days. It is so easy. Supplement your own education. So now it's just and this is it. This is really where I'm at too. Okay, so Anna's to-do list is, yeah, and this is where I'm coming to. This is it exactly. It's my to-do list. My to-do list is teach how to teach how to learn, teach DIY healing. That's what we're doing here, is teaching the DIY healing, teaching DIY teaching. I'm going to teach you how to use your brain, literally. Teaching how to use your brain. And my theory is we'll just beat them at their own game. Easy peasy. And I'm a certified teacher, so I can do that. Well, I can do it anyway, but yeah. And I will just pass on the information that I learned from Plato, who taught me. So teach how to teach how to learn, teach DIY healing, teaching DIY teaching, and teaching how to use your brain. And then, yeah. And then the big thing is how to apply your resources into your career engine. I'm going to call it a career engine. Ooh, I like that. That's classy. I love that. How to apply your resources into your career engine. So I'm going to go over how to take what you know and transfer it over into a career. And entrepreneurship, really the only thing, medical is one thing that we really cannot get around. Medical is one thing you cannot get around. Law is something you cannot get around. You must have degrees for those. Sciences, you have to, yeah. But that's only the way it was over there. Technically, you don't, because you could become your own inventor. Technically, you don't. Actually, no, you don't, because I'm a scientist and I have a high school diploma. I can show you how it's done. Basically, you need to fund your own research. You do case studies. You do this. Anyone can write an abstract. I know how to write abstracts. I write abstracts all fucking day. So yeah, no, you don't even need a degree to do science. What you need is significant self-evaluation to guarantee your education is thorough. But here's the thing. When you do self-teaching, your standards end up being higher than what they're giving you. Because now you have an invested interest. You want to learn the best. You want to get the most out of your education. And as a result, yeah, it changes the game. It changes the game completely. You go from being a drone following their credentials, and that's just it, is they have this criteria in place, and the criteria has an agenda. Their criteria is government funding. That's it. That is their only criteria. They have the criteria they have just so they can get government funding. It has nothing to do with your education. It has everything to do with them getting government funding. They don't give a shit about anything. Their qualities are shit. They are literally just meeting the criteria. And they're lowering the standards because, oh, well, children are suffering and people aren't learning like they used to. So we have to get this simplified. We have to change the system. Or you can teach your teachers how to teach. And that's it right there, is teaching but I'm not doing that because I'm not going to fight the system. I'm not going to touch the system. As far as I'm concerned, the system will sink itself. It's a sinking ship, and I'm not going to fix their sinking ship. I'm just going to create my own thing over here, and I'm going to give you the option. And it really appeases my OCD, and it appeases all of my happiness. So yeah, win-win. Yeah. So that's my current to-do list, is how to teach, how to learn. These are courses that I'm 100% going to be working on and putting together. And it's yeah, this is absolutely, I love this stuff. Yes.
Waiting. I don't know what the HDMI port.
Yeah, I can't help you right now, sweetheart.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm waiting.
Okay. He stood there and he's just staring at me for a minute.
I'm really upset because I found a projector and it's working and it has an HDMI input.
Okay.
So I can actually do things with it, like play the Switch without a TV.
Okay. The what? When want to dream. So yeah, my to-do list is teach how to teach. Teach you how to teach. And the best thing about teaching you how to teach, that's parenting. Teaching you how to learn, teaching DIY healing, teaching DIY teaching, teaching how to use your brain. And that's what I mean by using your brain, is how the mind learns. That's what I mean. But it's not just teaching. See, how to learn is how the mind learns, and how to put it into strategic action. And this is exactly, and that's it, is there's components to learning. And then there's how to apply your resources into your career engine. So then it's taking what you know and transferring it into your career engine. So I'm going to be covering all of this and showing you like the basics of this is how it's done. And then I'm huge on Khan Academy. Khan Academy is, I'm going to definitely probably be in touch with them in the future and setting up an affiliation program with Khan Academy, because I absolutely adore their setup. But Wikipedia is absolutely a gorgeous source. And honestly, between Wikipedia, so everyone likes to bash. There was a time period where everyone bashed Wikipedia. And I've done this before, where if you look up anything in Norse mythology on Wikipedia, there will be citations referenced. This is the citation. Everything on Norse mythology comes from this book. This book was written by John Lindow. John Lindow is the leading authority on Norse mythology. He is a professor at university. I believe he's in Texas. And everything, no, he's in California. Why do I keep thinking he's in Texas? He's in California. He is the professor at Berkeley. So 100% of all of our resources on Wikipedia from Norse mythology comes from the professor at Berkeley. So I just bought the book, read the book, and then I use Wikipedia for cliff notes. That's how I use Wiki. I use Wiki also, and this is going to be part of it, is how to teach yourself, how to DIY. Is basically, I'm going to show you the education map. And when I show you the education map, yeah, that's what I need to show you. Is this is the education map. This is the road of knowledge. This is the knowledge map. This is what was burned in Alexandria, is the knowledge map. So I will show you the knowledge map. And then what you can do is just go to Wikipedia, follow the knowledge map, and then let your curiosity just go. And then I teach you how to use your energy, your emotions to follow the curiosity and build your own educational tree. And constructing your own educational tree, oh my God. I've written up mine like 4 times. In the course of my life, I have written up my educational tree 4 times. My educational tree is going to be posted. So if you want to follow my educational tree, you can. And it's extraordinary. It's fucking extraordinary when you start to realize what an educational tree is and how to use it. And it's absolutely understanding the education map of knowledge and then knowing how to navigate your own educational tree based off of and fueled by your own emotions, and then learning how to use your psychology and physics to balance between potential and kinetic energy to balance yourself out for emotional management so that you propel and drive yourself forward through your educational tree. Oh yeah, highly functional, massively productive educational system. It's extraordinary. So that's something I'm covering over on my university website for Alexandria. That's it right there. And I think that's what I needed to do. I could feel myself getting angry, and it was actually I have so much to say about disgust. It was really extraordinary because I was angry, and at the core of the anger was disgust. And I went, whoa, disgust turns to anger? I did not know this. Apparently disgust turns over to anger. And disgust is a violation of your ethics. So, and because, I couldn't figure out why I was so angry about psychologists and teachers. And I tracked it down from the violation of, I'm like, I feel disgusted. I'm disgusted by them. Every time I hear the word teacher now, they should be called unlearners. I'm fucking disgusted by teachers and psychologists, more specifically teachers now. And I'm going, why? It's because they're violating my ethics. And my ethics are honest credentials. Honest credentials. That if you claim to be a healer or a helper, you'd better fucking heal and help. And they're not. They're not qualified. They lack way too much information. They lack hence the catastrophe we live in. And it's 100% at the people who aren't taking any responsibility for it. But as a result, everyone's suffering. And those are my fucking people suffering, because I understand the I of 12 of all. And I'm sitting here going, 1 of 12 of all, they are my people. I am one of you. You are one of me. This is fucking pissing me off because they're fucking with my network. They're fucking with my people. And they're suffering. This is my planet and this is my home. So I'm getting really pissed. So it is a violation to me, not indirectly, but through my circuit. And I'm going, what the fuck are they doing to my people? So yeah, I'm really fucking pissed off because they're fucking with my people. So now that I was able to identify my disgust for how they're violating my ethics by claiming that they have credentials while they tear at mine, and I'm going, you are absolutely dripping with fourth perspective comprehension gap. When I realized that, it was like okay, problem solved. Let's problem solve this sucker. Well, all we have to do is, now I know what to do. Now I've identified the problem. So now I know what to do. And basically DIY is going to have to be the way to go. DIY is going to be the best way to go. And you can do it. Self-teaching is fucking amazing shit. It's absolutely extraordinary. It is the most powerful thing because here's the difference. Self-teaching is when you learn how to fish. That's what it is. That's going to be an article after we're done with this. That's what that is. Oh, that's going to be an article. That is going to be today's article is going to be self-teaching. Self-teaching. Learning how to fish. And that's just it. Boy, it's such a powerful self-teaching is literally equivalent. Why do I have an ash in there? Learning how to fish. Instead of waiting to be fed. Learning how to fish instead of waiting to be fed. There. That is today's article. Oh, I have so much to say on that topic. So much to say. So much to say. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this article. And yeah, I'm going to. There's so much to say on this. I'm going to drop this down in today's Blackboard. That way you guys can see it. And that's the other thing I do with my Blackboards is I usually put, today's article. I also have Anna-isms that I usually include here as well. Today's article. Yeah, I need to I'm getting comfortable with you. I think that's what it is. And as I'm finally getting comfortable with you. Yeah, so I have today's article, self-teaching, learning how to fish instead of waiting to be fed. And then we've got using your emotional energy to your benefit. We've got the philosophical coffee. I've got the 2 examples on teaching and psychology, self-taught versus formal education, and the misplaced value and trust in formal education. And then, I have Anna's Blackboard. And this is exactly what it is Anna's Blackboard. So that it's a summation of today's lesson and everything you want to see. It's all nicely condensed. I am at 1 hour in and I'm ready to calm down. And this has been literally 4 days, 3 days of me on this rant of what's going on. How do I problem solve it? I need the big picture. And I did see the big picture. I finally found it. I've narrowed it down. I've defined it. And this is the process. Is gaining that omniscient point of view and then breaking it down for comprehension. And this is the kind of stuff I'm going to be teaching you. That way you can this is problem solving. This is absolutely how problem solving is done. And it's, I'm just digesting it all. And I'm like, yes, I'm feeling really solid about all of this. It is this, I feel like I'm definitely at a summation of, okay, I've identified all the components and now it's all coming together in my head and I'm going, oh, I have been struggling with getting comfortable with you. It's something it's extraordinary. This is one of my favorite relationships, is the relationship between creator and viewer. And it's one I'm definitely learning how to, I talked about it about a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where I'm like, all right, I need to resolve my relationship with you. And it's a very different type of relationship. And now people are commenting. It's been really, really wonderful for the comments, and it guides me. It tells me, oh, okay, this is where I'm going with it. This is the direction I need to take with it. So it's allowing me to really process and put into perspective for me exactly how to solidify and reaffirm what I'm doing. It's definitely my own self-trust. Everything keeps coming back to authority and self-trust. Those 2 things are at the crux of all of this. It is the first thing that's been compromised. It's the point of origin of trauma. How's that for meaning? Point of origin of trauma. But I would even say before that, it's the right words. It's the naming. I would say that the naming comes first. Yeah, it goes naming, and then it goes authority and self-trust. And when you are healing, when you are getting your life back for yourself, the naming is a vast part of this. It's all of it. It starts there. And then it's about your authority and your self-trust. Because the naming is the summation. It allows you the comprehension, which is the problem, is you lack comprehension. The words are logic. And when you understand how truly important words are, it's everything. And that's the words. The words are such a big deal about this. It is so vital. It is so vital to this process. And I have a section in my book where I talk very, very deeply on the power of words. And words are logic. And when you are a logical being, and we are, it's a game changer. Story and logic are our core components, story and logic. And when you compromise either one of those, you fall apart, which is what's been going on. Is your story is yourself. It's all of yourself. It's all the parts of yourself integrated and working together. It's your logic. It's how you comprehend the world. It is your understanding. And if you're not using the right words, you are compromising your understanding. If you are prioritizing the words of others, and this is how it happens, is the priority, which all comes back down to your authority, power, control, is you prioritize the words of others over self-trust. And that's the problem. The words of others over self-trust. And when you prioritize the words of others over self-trust, game over. All you have to do to fix it is prioritize self-trust over the words of all. And when you prioritize self-trust, then you start becoming very careful, very selective with your words. Words is the game changer. Because when you start saying, the emperor is naked, those were just words, but it changed the story. The Emperor's New Clothes. I fucking love Hans Christian Andersen. He gave me my Little Mermaid. Hans Christian Andersen's Emperor's New Clothes is about the power of words. The king said, the king did, the king used these words. And it was the boy stepping forward and going, "You're naked," that changed the entire story. That is the power of words. And when you start to say what is really going on, the matrix falls apart. Delusion cannot exist when the right words are spoken. Bottom line, delusion cannot exist when the right words are spoken. Delusion cannot exist when the right words are spoken. So this is the Anna-ism of the day. And that's it right there. Delusions cannot exist when the right words are spoken. And when you start to speak the correct words, the delusion falls apart and your understanding comes back. And suddenly you're going, oh, this is what I'm really dealing with. Oh, I can see where they lied to me. The whole damn thing is just a delusion. That's why you have mental illness, is because the wrong words were used. It's that simple. And it changes when you shift your priority from the words of others is more important than self-trust. No, people lie. People lie. People are ignorant. People say words sloppily without understanding their meaning. People repeat stupid shit. Like, you have to have a degree. No, you don't. And the reason why they're getting away with it is because no one's questioning anything anymore. And when you start questioning things again, you take your power back. Questions are extraordinary. Questions are the ask the whys, become inquisitive, but you require imagination for that. I'm analyzing and I'm still sitting in it, everything just going, okay, how do I feel? So my relationship with you has been I'm still trying to figure out my cognitive core with it. Like I love my podcast. I will probably always do my podcast. And I love writing my books and I love writing the articles. I love my research. So those are my 4 things that fill my day: the podcast, the books, the articles, the research. And yeah, that is the more, yeah, that, and then my educational studies, then my studies. My studies. I love being a student. So that is it right there. That is really that's the summation of my day. And it's this wonderful feeling of just, this is what I want to do. And this is how you do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. So you define the want. And then it's, okay, well, if this is what you're doing, what's the dream? And I wish I was more relaxed. Here you go. This is the part where you find the qualities that you desire. And this is called self-evaluation. I wish I was more relaxed. And I think that's my biggest problem with the podcast right now is I'm still not relaxed. I feel like I'm forcing it almost. I can feel that. And I'm not letting it flow. I can feel that. I feel like I have to come in with a purpose every podcast. And it's like, Anna, you don't have to go in with a purpose. You can just, it's okay. It's all right. This is self-evaluation. This is it exactly. This is leading by example. And that's a huge, I cannot tell you enough how much you need a role model. You must have a U of I. And I lead through example. Bottom line, I don't talk, I do, I show. Because that's how we learn. I know this from day one. I'm going, you guys need a role model. You guys need to learn by example. That's how all of us learn. And I know I had a fucking shitty childhood. I know I love my mother, but my mother is not someone I want to be. My mother, I love her to pieces. Oh my God, do I love her. But she is not someone I want to ever emanate. And I've had to find somebody who I want to emanate and put them in my U of I so I can go, okay, there we go. And I have this vision of myself in the future. And this is what your U of I should be. It should be your future self. It should be your dream self. If you were to stand in front of the mirror of Erised in Harry Potter and look at yourself in the mirror, who would you be? You know, and I think that's part of it is also, I'm constantly thinking, and this is something, I'm not used to the tech. I'm not used to the tech. I've been doing this since before 1995. I use 1995 as my starting point because that's the day I said, I'm going to study philosophy. But it wasn't, by 1992, I had my cat research done. So I don't know when I started it. I've done this my whole life. And I think it was 1988 is when those books came into the house. Those books arrived in like 1988. Those books arrived. And from 1988 to 1992, I was doing a whole nother thing that I don't even talk about. I never talk about that. That was my preliminary. That was when I was studying psychology, dream psychology. That's when I was studying Freud. And that's when I was studying my cat research. My cat research is amazing. I will have to tell you about my cat research someday. I think I already have a couple times, but I love my cat research. And no cats were harmed in the making of my research. It was just observing, documenting, and then watching 5 generations. My parents did not believe in shots or neutering and spaying and other things. Horrible, horrible animal abuse. But as a result, I ended up with like literally over 60 cats by the time I was 12 years old. And they were all genetic down from these lines. And they were not inbred. But they were, there was a lot. And I had genetic lines, I had coat patterns, I had personalities, I had trauma induced. I had a primary feral cat, Guess, and she was the mother. And then she had kittens, which had kittens, which had kittens. And then we had 3 other cats that came in from outside. And I have like Raoul was the father cat, and he was Maine Coon. Guess was feral and white. And then I had a black cat, Shadow and Whiskers. And I was able to track their genealogy over and watch how the feral bred out with generation to generation. I was able to watch how their behavior changed with treatment and abuse, so that by the time I was 12, I had like a full 5-generational genetic outline that mapped it all. And then so when I went to science class, when I did biology, I was like taking my biology studies and comparing them to my cat chart. And then in 1995, that's when I started my philosophy studies. So I didn't have technology. Everything was pen paper. And if I didn't write it down, I lost it. I didn't have a podcast. And I'm scared I'm going to lose the data. I'm scared I'm going to lose the information. I got to write down, which is why I write so much, is because I got to write it down. And it's like, no, Anna, it's okay. It's all right. You got tech now. And I'm going, right. I have tech now. And I'll say something and I'll immediately freak out like, oh my God, I got to get this down. No, you don't, Anna. Trust the tech. And it's something I really, really struggle with, is pulling myself back from the tech. So I think that's part of it. And as a result, I am more focused on recording and documenting than just like I'm already doing that. I'm double recording because I'm that. So I need to relax. I really do need to relax, calm down, and step back. So that's definitely part of it. So standing in front of that mirror of Aristide, I'm looking at my future self going, how do I see myself? I see myself relaxed. I see myself just talking. I see other people documenting all this stuff for me, pulling all the data, and then creating my own Anna-isms from my videos and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need to just relax and calm down. It's okay. Pull back, rest. And it's trust. This is what it is. When you can't relax, it's because you don't trust. And that, see, I immediately picked it up, and it's like, and I'm fighting it right now. I'm going, do I write it down? Do I write it down? And it's definitely, I'm writing it down because, yeah. When you can't relax, it's because you don't trust. Trust cures an inability to relax. And that's it right there. And I'm saying this, as I'm saying this, I'm doing it. And I'm going, yeah, I'm consciously aware. No, I have something to work on. So this is self-evaluation. This is it exactly. And in my future self, I see me relaxed, just talking, focusing instead on the humor, the engagement, the story, the lesson, rather than recording, documenting, researching. And the idea, I see me having help with my research, which is foreign to me. It's still mind-blowing. I'm just like, help with my research? I've been doing this for so long without the help. And that's the independence. So you take your dream self and you compare yourself. Okay, how far have I come? That's your point of origin to where you are now. To where am I going? And I did this at one point. I started, and I would take this as an assignment. Do this assignment. Write down a list of all of your qualities, everything that you are on this day. That's your point of origin. A list of all the things you love about yourself, all the things you don't like about yourself, all the qualities you want to keep, and all the qualities that you want to get rid of. Now, this is the best thing about healing. Healing is, it does not touch the parts of you you love. It won't touch the parts of you you love. I went through my healing terrified that I would lose what I love. Healing doesn't touch what you love. What you love is your identity. What you don't like is your trauma. That's it. The parts of you that you don't like, they're not you. That's trauma. That's your mark of lie. What you love, that's you. It's beautiful. It's such a gorgeous mathematical beauty. This is like the most beautiful thing about healing is what you love is you. And what you hate about yourself isn't you. That's the mark of lie. And as you heal, you are removing the things you don't like about yourself. So you can use your list of what you don't like as a metric to tell you how much more healing you have to go. Now you've got a destination for your healing. Now you know where to go. For instance, not being able to relax shows a lack of trust. Everything has an equal and opposite reaction. So relax and trust are opposites. Therefore, not relaxing and trust are opposites. So the more I can't relax is the metric for how much I need to trust. You can put a graph on it. I recommend the graph. Do a mathematical graph on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do I not relax? I don't like this exercise. All right, I'm calling out my own bullshit. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I not enjoy? How much do I not relax? 8. That is how much I don't trust. So I now have a metric. The goal is to trust more, relax more. And it's okay. I am specifically referring to my IT person in the back who does a lot for me. And she's like, Anna, you're not alone anymore. She wrote that to me yesterday and I burst out crying. I'm like, it's hard. It's really hard. And it's okay. Just put it down, walk away, sit back. And it's becoming consciously aware of it. It's constantly self-evaluating. And it's so this is going to be my new thing, is not writing while I talk to you. Trusting. And what about my blackboard? That immediately popped in. What about my blackboard? You can go back after the video and create the blackboard. How do you feel about that? Does the blackboard? No, because I'm doing the workbook. I'm doing the workbook. And I might, this is a really, really good point, is I might record these not live. Like I'll do them live still, so you can watch them live, but the blackboard will be posted after the video because I really need to focus on talking to you and connecting with you instead of writing and documenting. So for my mental health, I really need to stop doing the blackboards while I do the videos. And just, and immediately my mouth opened up. But what about, okay, calm. See, and there's the trust. Every time you say, what if, you don't trust. Every time. What if and what about is a lack of trust. So now I'm looking at the whole cognitive core. Where's the lack of trust coming from? Oh, I'm pulling up my AIDNS now. All right. Where's it not coming from? What am I afraid will happen? I will lose information. I'm going to lose. I'm recording it. I love out loud decising myself. It's like one of my favorite things to do. This, by the way, is arguing. Your system needs logic. It needs it to be nourished. You need logic. And when you lack logic, you default to fear. People are like, oh, fear is an absence of love. Well, it is, but it's actually logic. It's actually a fear of it's a lack of logic. Logic trumps fear. Logic and love are like this. Logic and love are tightly intertwined. And logic is the thing that a lot of people, it's what everyone has missed. Everyone has missed this one. Is logic and love are so tightly interwoven. Oh, I ordered a Bible. I am so fucking excited. My Bible should be here today. Today? Tomorrow. Should be here tomorrow. I had like 8 different Bibles. Let me rephrase that. I had 8 different ancient text scriptures from 8 different religions, including the Ramayana, which is the Hindu religion. It's actually I believe it's one of 4 books from the Hindu religion. And then I had the Quran, and then I had one Bible from every sect of Christianity. I did not get my hands on the Orthodox book, but during my divorce, I lost all of them. And I keep getting into a thing where I'm like, where's my New King James Version? I love the poetry and the epic poetry. For me, the Bible is just epic poetry. It's like Milton. It's Milton. So I love reading that kind of text. I love it so much. The Genesis is my favorite. Oh my God, do I love the Genesis. It's why I love Tolkien so much, is because when I read Tolkien's Silmarillion, I went, well, this reads like Homer's Iliad and the Genesis. It read exactly like that. So it's this big, I need to relax because it's affecting my teaching. And that's the problem. I cannot have it affecting my teaching. So I see me being more relaxed where I'm sitting back and I'm talking without writing and without frantically scribbling. I need to just stop with the blackboard. I need to sit back. Trust. All right. Trust. I can do this. My Anna-isms aren't going to go anywhere. I can trust. Why do I have such a trust issue when it comes to the tech? This is a trust of self. Why don't I trust myself? Curiosity is what you require for self-evaluation. If you do not have curiosity, you are not going to get to this point, which is why you need to nurture your curiosity. You have to become curious about you. See, that's an Anna-ism. Write that down, Anna. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. And that's it. You have to become curious about you. If you're not curious about you, why aren't we curious about ourselves? Why are we never curious about ourselves? What the fuck? That's an anomaly. That is an anomaly. That is really a big anomaly. That's like the largest of all. That is the mother lode of all anomalies. I'm going, why aren't we curious about ourselves? Because we were given false if and then statements in society to tell us that we already know everything about ourselves. That's why. Because we have false if and then statements that prevent us from looking further. What if you don't know anything about yourself? What if somebody told you wrong? What if the if-then statements that you have that tell you, I know everything there is to know about me. I know who I am. I know what I like. Do you? Oh, I get that a lot, where people are like, they've got 18 different mental illnesses wrong with them, 30,000 symptoms, and they're going, I don't need therapy. I'm fine. I've been working on my therapy for 14 years. You think that's sufficient? No, I want to do a quiz. One moment. I want to do a quiz that helps people evaluate. And I'll do it with the AIDNS, where you can take a quiz and, are you mentally healthy? Are you working up to par? And if you can't relax, that means you can't trust. Yeah, you need to work on your trust. There are certain emotions you should not be feeling. It's not that you shouldn't be feeling the emotions, so throw them away. It means that you're feeling them for a reason. It's a metric to tell you that your calibration is off. somebody I was talking to the other day, I loved this. Their calibration was so tuned into the narcissist that they treat me sometimes like I'm the narcissist. And it's all subconscious mind. And she's a very dear friend of mine. And it was just so funny. I'm like, you're calibrated to narcissists. You're treating me like I'm a narcissist because you're calibrated to them. And that's just it, is when we become calibrated to something that is not us, we project that onto other people without even realizing it. And it's how's your calibration? But again, this is all new information. We haven't had it before. So it's becoming aware now of, you need to look at your calibration. You need to look at your AIDNS to determine to what degree your calibration is off so you can make the appropriate adjustments. And that's what this workbook is going to do, is it's going to walk you through everything as far as how to calibrate yourself, how to tweak it, how to become aware, basically how to become, it's literally the manual for your subconscious mind. I'm not picking up the pen. I really want to pick up the pen right now. And I'm not, no, Anna, take this down. Oh, I can do that. I know I just said that, but I'm still learning that I can do that. Take this down, Anna. Take this down. That it's the manual for your operating system. That's it. It's your operating system manual. I like that. No, I'm not there yet. I got to write it down. It's your operating system manual for your AIDNS, your operating system manual. And that's just it, is we don't understand. We have not until now understood what makes us tick, what's going on. And it's still, I'm mind blown. There are days where I'll get into my research and I'm like, oh my fucking God, this stuff is, that's what's, and it's just mind blown. And then it's condensing and translating it down, and it's putting more meaning and understanding into it. So yeah, definitely your 2 columns, what qualities you would change of yourself, what qualities you would keep. And don't be afraid to heal. And the reason why is because when you heal, everything you love, you get to keep. All the dreams you've ever dreamed come back to you. The only difference is this time when they come back, there's no obstacles to get to them. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. All your childhood dreams are waiting for you on the other side. They're there. They never went away. You just couldn't access them because of all the shit in your way. And this is not, and this is something I tell everybody I speak to, there's nothing wrong with you. It's most of us, all of us, lack the vocabulary. All of us are supposed to be functioning at a higher frequency, and we lack the vocabulary of that frequency. That's it. Once you have the vocabulary, you'll gain comprehension, and then you can step into the proper frequency for you, and you're fine. And that's all it is. That's all it is. And it's extraordinary to really take this step back from it all and summarize it into just those simple concepts of, the only thing wrong with everybody is we are all starting to function at a higher frequency, and the vocabulary for that frequency has not yet been defined. My work is the study of defining that frequency, articulating it, bringing it to your attention so you can go, oh. And what's extraordinary is people who are in my circle, they're already picking up the language because the language has been needed for so long. But we had this massive pay no attention to the man behind the curtain happening, where we were all looking that way, and we kept, no, you're not allowed to look over there. You're not allowed to look over there. But that's where we're supposed to be. That's where we're going. I wrote something this morning in one of the documents that I'm working on, and it's in the workbook. This is absolutely in the Philosophical Coffee workbook. And I'm going to do 4 workbooks a year. It's going to be 90 days per workbook. So it'll be released every year over the course of the year. And I don't know if I'm going to keep repeating this year after year, or if you can just get the series and it's just the 4 workbooks and you're done. And then you can just keep doing them. I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely releasing 4. And it'll take you through the entirety of the program so that you guys can get the workbooks. I'll do Philosophical Coffee and continue to deliver the studio here. And then it's updating you, letting you know what's available and everything. So it'll be available on Amazon and also a PDF. I'm going to start with the PDF first and then down to Amazon. But it's this, yeah, it's definitely. I also have the Triliminals coming, which is that I'm very excited about. I need to reach out to Maury today. He is a neuroscientist who has basically learned how to, he invented this creation that switches it's basically positive affirmations designed to classically condition you. He uses classical conditioning and neuroscience to provide you with positive affirmations. And I wrote the positive affirmations that he is using in his system so that it's directed to target the opposite of your mental illness, all mental illnesses, so that it will reverse your mental illnesses with the positivity while you listen. That's going to be also available on my website with the workbooks and then the Philosophical Coffee. So between the podcast, the Triliminals, and this, very, very fucking powerful. Very, very fucking powerful. So all that is coming out, should be out in a week. Definitely next month at the latest, but like the workbook, I'll have it done today. I will have the workbook done. And then it's going to go through an edit. From there, it will go into the PDF, and then we're going to upload it into Amazon. So you can purchase an actual workbook of it. So that's going to be available. And then I'm going to start on, I have to finish Theory of Love. That's coming out next month. So there's a lot going on. The material is available. And then while I'm doing that, I'm also building up the website to get the teaching courses under the teaching syllabus, the psychology of teaching. And that's going to be a huge part of all of this is the psychology of teaching. That way you can DIY your own mental healing and then DIY your own self-teaching. I'm going to teach you how to fish. And once that's set, trust your brain. Don't wait for somebody. And this is the big thing that I say is do not wait for somebody to give you permission to use your brain. This is really what this comes down to. Again, we're back to authority. I'm still working out authority. I've got it's not quite logically concluded. I've got gaps with authority, power, control. And I'm going, something is up there. So I'm missing something key to authority. I'm missing a 4th point. Authority, power, control. What's the 4th? I almost want to say it's knowledge, education, which gives you authority. Can I write that down? I'm writing it down. Education is power. I really want to say it's education. Oh, do I want to scream that it's education? People like to say that awareness is the first step of healing. No, it's not. No, it's not. Awareness is a consequence The catalyst is education. And if they were educated, they would know that. Goes to show again how little the psychology, and I think I'm done proving that the psychology field and the teaching field are incompetent at their job. So I think I'm done with that. I have substantial proof logically that they are not qualified to do the jobs that they claim they can do. I think I'm done with that. I think I'm done with that. I have substantial evidence that's more than overwhelming that I hereby strip them of their qualifications because they logically are officially contradicting their own self, and they're the cause of this. And I'm done with that mess. That being said, education. Education is the core of this. You have a child who steps in. For God's sakes, you're here. You're here because you're looking for the education. You're not walking in going, I'm aware, that's why I'm here. If you were fucking aware, you wouldn't be here. See what I mean? Illogical. You seek education. You seek information. Information is the start of all healing. It's not awareness. You don't suddenly just, I'm aware. No, it comes from somewhere. Awareness is a result of, you don't just pop that out of thin air. And those, they delude that, oh, well, it just pops out of thin air. No, it fucking doesn't. It is a catalyst. Education is the start of all healing. How many times are people going, oh, maybe I do need healing? And the thing that really stops is when somebody steps in and says, that's not normal. Oh, it's not? No, it's not. So it's, you need an archetype. I see. Well, Socrates, that I can do. An archetype is this is what a human being is supposed to do. This is what a human being is capable of. This is the full potential of a human being. Around the 4th century, someone stepped in and said, Christ is the ideal human. He's a God, but God is the ideal human. What are you doing? God is the ideal human? That's like going, the cat is the ideal human. Everyone must copy the cat. That was not on purpose. British humor, sorry. Okay, that being said, you need a human so that you know what an actual human looks like when it's not touched by trauma. And that's it really. So I'm going to do like the archetype of human, what a human looks like when it's not touched by trauma. That's going on my to-do list. The human archetype. That's it. You don't need a God archetype. You guys need a human archetype. There we go. Human I can spell. I know, I just wrote on my blackboard. There. So that's it. You need a human archetype. And when you have the human archetype, then you have that point of comparison, point of origin. This is, and I can't tell you how many times I talk to somebody and they're like, that's not normal. No, it's not normal. So having that point of comparison really is going to go a long way for a tool so that you can now measure how far off your calibration is to the archetype. So yeah. And I love providing the solutions. We're going to identify, define, name, and now here's the solution. So education is the core to this. Information is power. Education is power. Knowledge is power. Education is the core. And through education, you gain authority, which explains why the people in power don't want you to know that. It is a common, long, and very old, rehearsed slave tactic. Don't educate the slaves, then they'll figure shit out. So they completely wiped our education out from under us. You don't want educated slaves. Then they challenge authority. The thing is, and here it is right here. Anna, write this down. It is not challenging their authority because they never had it. You're challenging their control. The emperor is naked. You're challenging their control, not their authority. They don't have any authority. And if you were educated, if we were educated, if the world were educated, we would know that. You can't challenge authority. Not ever. It's not possible. It's another one of those things that they say that doesn't exist. You cannot challenge someone's authority. You can challenge their control over you, the words they don't want you to know. They can challenge your control. You can challenge their control. I have my authority. There's no challenging someone else's. No one has authority over me. So when I give pushback because somebody's trying to control me, and they go, well, don't challenge my authority. Authority of what? Let me ask you that. Authority over my brain, authority over my choices, authority over my voice. Let's talk about that. You're using the words challenging my authority. You tell me what that means. How is my exercising my opinion, my voice, my choices, and my decision affecting you? The shit they don't want you to think about. And it's all hidden in the language. The emperor is naked. They don't want you to challenge their control over you. So they wipe out your education so you don't figure out that your authority does not belong to anybody but you. Now, education doesn't give you authority or power. It makes you aware of what they are really doing. Education, over and over again, this just keeps coming back to that. It's like you have somebody sitting in the back of the room wearing a jester's outfit, dancing around, laughing about all the stories that they tell about the missing king. And the imp dances around the room, laughing and joking. And the people all come in. The queen walks in, and the queen pats him on the head and looks so adoringly at him. And he dances around the room talking about the missing king. And he is so broken that he does not remember or realize that he is the king. And at one point, someone broke the king so much that he forgot who he was, and he put on the jester's outfit and started dancing around the courtroom, talking about the absent missing king, having no idea that he was talking about himself. That is an old story. That is an old story. That is a story that goes back to I'll have to tell it sometime. Education, authority, and now you can use your power to wield control. You know, I was writing a thing. I'm not going to pick up the pen. I'm not going to pick up the pen. Anna, diagram this. It was education to authority to power to control. And that's one pathway. That is the right pathway to control. The other is through force. Force is the back door to get to control, and that's where the abusers go. And you actually don't have authority or power through that method. You only have the control. But in order to keep the control, you have to keep abusing and you have to increase the amount of abuse. It's equivalent to addiction. Some people are addicted to their abuse that they put on others. And it's done so because if you don't keep terrorizing the people, then they will rise up. They will. You have to remind them that you're something to fear. And that's not authority. That's not power. No, it's force, power, control, authority, power, control. But there's no respect. No, there is no fucking respect through that method. There isn't. There won't be. If you go through the force, power, control path, you will forever be vigilant and be on your guard to constantly protect the control that you had to force from others. And they will not respect you. But the education, the authority, the power, and the control. The thing is, once the enslaved figures out how to overcome fear, they lose that emotional pathway to them. So your courage and your fear, using courage and logic to overcome your fear, frees you. And as soon as it frees you, the abusers will fall. Because they never had any authority to begin with. Thank you so much for your audience, and may the kindest of words always find you.